Speaking about technology, you see, we need to leverage these. We need to approach the social problems with the same creative entrepreneurial mindset that we do when we approach any problem. When I'm in a room with technologists in Silicon Valley, if someone brings up a problem, everyone will complain, and then somebody will have this pensive look on their face. They'll take a deep breath, and they'll say, whoever solves that problem is going to make a lot of money. We need to take that same viewpoint, and where other people see problems, we need to see opportunities. And with that, I want to introduce my dear friend, Ian Utile. He is the founder of Attention Live. I have the privilege of being the chief of ethics for Attention Live, and I'm one of the co-founders along with him. And he is a forward-looking technologist who has very much inspired me about how we can use technology to impact for good. Take it from here, Ian.
October 17th at 5:04 p.m., 1989. Remember what happened? The big earthquake. Now I'm 8 years old. I'm in the garage of a house that my father's building a mile from the San Andreas epicenter. This earthquake starts. Now my dad loves earthquakes, so he is yee-hawing like he's on a roller coaster ride. And my mom equally hates earthquakes. So she is screaming, run, run. And I remember she grabs me by the collar, 8 years old, drags me outside, and I see the road like an ocean wave, and I see vehicles bouncing down the hill. And I look up at my dad, and at first I thought he's shaking the house. I maybe even yelled, Dad, stop shaking the house. And his yee-hawing, after about 30 seconds, went to just, ing. And I learned something at 8 years old. Things are gonna come and they're gonna be shocking. We're not gonna expect them, but we certainly get to decide how we respond to it. And so when innovation comes, when automation comes in education or in any industry, because of the automation of AI or Web3 technologies, how do we naturally respond? Because being self-aware is quite helpful. If you know when change is coming, that you scream out, yeehaw, let's go for the ride, then you can prepare yourself for these changes and take advantage of that response. However, if you have a tendency to scream and run away from it, know yourself. You're not bad. That's how you respond. Maybe surround yourself with people that find the joy in change. There's a really wealthy billionaire. He calls every great athlete together to his private home. Every extreme X Games athlete, every Olympian athlete he can get, every professional athlete across the world, all the best are there. And they're surrounding his pool, and he says, hey, first person across this pool, you can either have my daughter and be my son. Now remember, this guy's a billionaire. Or I will just give you half of everything I have. He pulls back the tarp. Alligators, moccasins, stingrays. A man hits the water. He's swimming. He's biting the animals. He's punching them off. He gets to the other side. Oh, everybody else is over there. And the man, he can barely breathe. He just made it across the pool. And the billionaire goes, that was incredible. That was amazing. Do you want to be my son? No, man, I don't want to be your son. I don't want to be your son. He goes, okay, you want half of everything I have. I understand. I don't want half of what you have. I want to know who pushed me. I want to know who pushed me. And for those of you that might be feeling like you get pushed into innovation, get pushed into philanthropy or charity or good work for humanity, just get across the pool. Don't stop. Accomplish the goal that's set before you. I'm going to bring up one of my friends, a mentor to me. He is the Chief Innovation Officer at Attention Live. He's a professor at Michigan, and he is revolutionizing education with new technologies and new approaches and new strategies. Before I ask him to come speak for a few moments, then I'll come back up and we'll take questions and interact with you. Let me remind you of Jesus. Jesus transformed everything about how a leader dealt with people. He was the first to say, "Let the children come to me." He was the first to go to the Samaritan, the outcast, those that were rejected by his people. He was the first to empower women in the way that he did. He, Jesus, from what we know, seems to have been the world's greatest feminist. He didn't ask permission on how should I be a spiritual teacher, a synagogue leader. He didn't ask the government, how should I interact with people that are children or women or outcasts? Is it okay? He didn't ask for permission. He looked at the innovation of the day and he said, well, I can gather people together in these towns. Humans have innovated and created cities and towns and areas where everybody gathers. I'll go there and I will teach anyone. In fact, I'll call those that are the least of these. And as we think about transforming education for the 80% that are forgotten, don't forget the model that has been set before us. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to Tim Bates.
How's everybody doing tonight? Or today, sorry. I come all the way from Michigan just to talk to you guys out here in California, because you guys are the cradle of what we call technology. And then we start talking about democratization of knowledge. That's where we're at right now on a new, a new chapter where knowledge is now becoming democratized. And that's with AI. Everybody understands what AI is, right? Who's all afraid of AI? Nobody? Good. Because a lot of people think AI is going to replace jobs. It's not replacing jobs no more than the horse and buggy was replaced by a car. Today we take cars to get somewhere fast. We don't take horse and buggies to go anywhere. But the horse and the buggy, or the horse itself, did not disappear. We just pretty much reallocated it to something else. And that's what's going to happen with AI. AI is a new tool, no different than a PowerPoint, than Excel, or anything else that we've used over the last 30 years in the technology industry to help us as humans move faster. Who can answer the question of how much of the human brain do we use today? Wow, less than 20%, how's that? Now, how do we get all of these things done with only 20% capacity in our brains? We don't. We usually go back to books, and that's what a natural language processor is all about, and that's what you're hearing about in the AI industry, which is a natural language processor is able to, analyze data faster than we can, but provide us with that data. And so one of the things I'm doing now as I go into my next chapter of my career, I think this is the 5th one, at University, College of Innovation and Technology at University of Michigan, I'm teaching courses using AI, where a lot of professors think that AI shouldn't be used. I'm like, well, if they're not going to be used, then why did we use computers back in the 80s and the 90s when I started in college? You know, I use a computer, Harvard Graphics, PowerPoint, which is what you guys know of, in order to do things correctly. PowerPoint starts with a template. Without using that template, I don't know where to start from, but that template doesn't know where to go without my heart and my soul writing the information into that PowerPoint. It's the same thing that we see with AI today. When you look at OpenAI, you look at Gemini or any of these AIs out here, that's what they're supposed to do. Unfortunately, we have a bunch of kids running around what I call with sharp scissors and not knowing exactly how to use it the right way. Okay. One of the biggest mistakes that OpenAI has done, you know, I know some of you guys might beat me up because I'm not a Tesla fan and I'm not an OpenAI fan. I come from the East Coast. The thing is that, you know, we are a global world with multiple different cultures, language, you know, thoughts, religions, everything. And what did these kids go and do? They threw it all in one big bucket. You throw in garbage, all you're going to get out is garbage. And so you saw the next phase of let's create some GPTs. And those GPTs are supposed to filter out that garbage. It's still not going to work. And in 6 months, you'll probably like saying, hey, Tim's right, it's not going to work. And that's why you see a lot of the AI stuff going down towards more individual information. Information for an individual, a community, a company, and that's how it's supposed to work. There's no way in the world we can inference data across the globe and expect nothing to come out except biased information. You guys heard about the Gemini issue, right, in the last couple of days? Well, I had the same issue for the last, year and a half with OpenAI. From 2.0 to 3.5 to 4.0, every time I put my information in, I get it out, and I say, hey, show me a picture of myself based on what I know. I see a white guy. I'm not white. Okay? Now you go to Gemini, it's completely flipped the other way. Show me something. Oh, you'll show me African American, it shows you a white guy or a black guy. It just doesn't know what the heck is going on. And that's because we're using AI the wrong way. AI is not to be used for religion. It's not to be used for anything that gives you thought leadership either. It's there to be just like an encyclopedia. When I was young, my mom made me and my brothers and sisters read the encyclopedia almost every week, almost every day. It was my homework. That's what a natural language processor is. It's enough data there to democratize information so that we can get along with each other. If you look on my LinkedIn, there's a paper that I wrote that NLPs are nothing but a new translator. It's like, I speak a different language. When I was growing up in the hood, I spoke a different language. When I was in the Marine Corps, I spoke a different language. In the corporate world, I speak a different language. The thing is you had to keep changing. With a natural language processor, that helps us with that change. If I want to speak in a different language as far as actually French or Japanese, it can help me with that. But the most important thing is that it helps communities actually communicate with each other. Because most people don't even realize that we have a disparate issue with communicating with each other, and it's a person that's like 2 doors down from us. And so that's what natural language processors are all about. Oh, you guys got really quiet on me. So the thing is with AI, I'm here because when it comes to technology, the Bay Area is what drives technology. And I know Innovate is all about the Bay Area. I'm not here just about the area, I'm here about the country. Technology is driven from here. When I go back to Detroit, my hometown, it's like I have to look at what you guys are doing in order to teach there. And if I can't get you guys or the Bay Area to think about what we're doing wrong with this new AI and the bias and the things that we have going on, then it's doomed for everybody else on the East Coast. And so that's what I'm here as, from an innovation standpoint, would like to talk to more people about how do we solve that problem? How do we solve the problem where we get our heads, clear and start looking at how do we educate the other 80% of the world for the country? That's it. Thanks. Oh, that's it.
So Tim and I have a bit of time to take questions. Do you have any questions about education innovation, about the impact of Web3 and AI? Do you have ideas? Do you have things that you're inspired in when you think about what is to come? I should have brought a football and just thrown the football randomly in the go ahead. In the nice black hat there. Can you stand up, say your name, and say the question clearly?
And my question is trying to tie Tim in with what was just said by Vanessa. I want you to comment on her idea of using AI to make legislative bills communicate with people with 4th and 5th grade educations. In other words, that's communicating. That strikes me as the kind of AI you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it can be created. What we have to do is first clean up the mess that we have right now. When you look at OpenAI, you look at Google's AI and Gemini, or even Lambda over at Meta. Look at it as an algorithm, not as a database. They're selling us a database, they're giving us a database full of garbage. In order to create a legislative database, we have to create that from scratch, which a lot of people are actually doing that. I've created models based on Michigan law. I've created models based on United States law. but they're specifically to that law. It's not what we call opinions, it's basically all facts. And that's what we have to do or get to that point in order to create what you're talking about.
I see a couple hands here. Why don't you stand up, and then also in the back with the hat. Go ahead. You have a microphone. Hand that to him first. They'll bring a microphone to you, sir. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Finney. I'm a local pastor at a local church here. I had a conversation yesterday with a school district superintendent, and just asking what are some of the needs. And she mentioned the biggest challenge they have, they're wondering AI can't help them solve. At least here, there are kids from 12, 13 different languages. It's not just one specific language, 12, 13 different languages, and English is not their first language. They're looking for a tool where the teacher can talk in a group setup where folks from different languages can understand it, right? I mean, especially students. They say that there is something one-on-one, but not in groups. So like, at least in the education world, directly from a school superintendent, she's like, if you know of people who are figuring this out, let me know. So there is a need out there. Hopefully I communicated it right, but
no, you said it right. And there are tools out there that are able to do that. So when you look at from OpenAI, they have Whisper, and there's a couple other text-to-voice translators. It's just a matter of someone taking that tool, that technology, and making it for multiple different languages. But it's already there.
Go ahead, sir.
I just wanted to know if you see AI coming into existence in a lot of different little tidbits so that you can go to that resource to get your answers, like you said, based on Michigan law or the United States law. Is that what you're seeing in the future?
Yes. It's basically where OpenAI is trying to get to with their GPTs. It just failed miserably, but it comes down to using the algorithms and using those algorithms across specific data. There's not one corporation on this planet that I know of, and I've been in the industry for a while, that's going to submit their data to the cloud where everyone else has access to it. The other thing is, once you put it in the cloud, you're cross-pollinating with things that you have no clue or understand. And so that's where you get back down to the specific databases for specific communities, groups of individuals, schools. It goes completely, continues. Yes.
Yes, please. You can come to my microphone.
So first of all, I'm glad to hear you guys are dealing with the biases, because I've been singing this song in the Bay Area when OpenAI had tried to tell me Egypt wasn't in Africa. But mental health, one of the things we see, they do have a lot of AI out there now, but unfortunately it can't get past the bias because it's grouping people together. And we know, we talk about culturally informed and other informed type of mental health services, and I do have an idea, and I want to know, do you guys know what's going on? And if you don't, maybe it's something we can look at, because you can't deal with a part of a person without dealing with their mental situation, and you can't group them in one and get back information that can help that individual.
Mental health assistance exclusively through AI or in partnership with a mental health practitioner is a fantastic idea. Should totally be done. The one thing I would say to anyone in this room or that sees a video is just be mindful about your data. When you're dealing with something as significant as your mental health, dropping your guard down, exposing who you are to somebody so they can help you work through something, that may not be something that you'd want to do under the guise of a multi-trillion-dollar market cap capitalist corporation. You guys might want to be thoughtful about things like doing AI off the cloud, on your own computer, on your own server, using things like stability, stable diffusion. Maybe as we wrap up Q&A, you can talk a bit about the concerns that we share about all of the AI being done in the cloud. Not that we shouldn't use those tools, but just be thoughtful in comparison to the opportunity to leverage these same large language models privately as you have done so well.
Right. So I'll take it to a different level. I'm going to actually bring it back to Attention.live. One of the things that we've done with Attention.live is we're looking at assets, digital assets. How do we protect those assets? When you look at individuals that have been around for hundreds of years, to my heart, it's like Aretha Franklin. She just passed away about a year ago. and people are arguing over her estate on from a music standpoint. Who owns what? How many streams you get here or there? There's no way to track that. The old ways that we have today, they tend to work, but they don't work well. They don't work for the individual themselves. And we've learned that over the last 10 years or 20 years with the internet. You put something out there, it's not owned by you anymore, it's owned by one of these multi-billion-dollar corporations. We're seeing that repeat today when you start seeing new memes or old memes. You know, most of us are probably old enough to see stuff that's being repeating, like an old TV show. Those individuals that created those things, they're not getting paid. Sony's getting paid, Apple's getting paid, Google's getting paid. What do? You put in a system that helps with what we were talking about here, which is how do you protect that data? You know, most people look at blockchain as NFTs as well as cryptocurrency. That's not what it was built for. When we built blockchain back in 2009, it was for the next evolution of security in the digital world. It's there to actually give traceability and accountability. When you start taking open ledger type technology like Adara, and you tie that down to a mental health record or a personal like music or a picture or something else digitally, now for the next millennial or the legacy of that individual, they control the rights of their data. Now, does Apple, Google, and Amazon or everybody else like that? No, but it's the way we have to go. You know, we are the product on the internet, and we're selling to ourselves, and all these corporations are doing that to us. It's time for us to take over and take advantage of that data.
Please give yourself a stand up. Let's stand up for a moment to exercise. Stand up, stretch out.
Yep.
Let's thank Tim for coming out here from Michigan for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Tim.
guys.